Hello and welcome to another vlog. If you never heard of me, I am a stand-up comedian and a content creator, a lot of vlogging. My name is Tia and yeah, that's it. Sometimes I record the stuff properly walking and stuff. Other times I just go to different trips, to different travelings, and I take my compact camera, which I will show you in a few minutes. Just hold on a little bit. This camera, it was manufactured in 2014 by Sony and it's good for photographs. So it doesn't take much space on my back and I just go without a worry that I need to talk to a camera, and then I try to just feel a vlog, sort of a podcast, in which I'm talking about the stories related to that place, my stories. I showcase the photographs that I took, the best stuff. Let's talk about Chaves. Here's... Jesus Christ, okay. Here are some photos, and yeah. For what Chaves is, and yeah, I don't know how many photos will be here. A lot of them, truly. By the time I went to Chaves, I just went with the compact camera in October 2025, and the best way to describe Chaves is describing it by its history, its surroundings, the beauty that surrounds this city. I visited this in my whole youth. This was this October of 2025. I'm recording in 26 January to be precise. So last year I went there. I went with my parents. Was the last time I went to Portugal to visit my parents and my family. One of the things that I wanted to do sincerely was going to Chaves and have a memory of it in photographs. Because Chaves has always been those places that I visit through football. Near me, when we would go play there, we always looked forward for it in the football years, because Chaves, Grupo Esportivo de Chaves, always been in the top tier leagues. So we always went there with the ambition and the goal of like, oh, if you do a great job there, you might be seen, you might be discovered, and you might get into a team that eventually might lead to play professional football. And for a long time, that was within my ambitions, my goals of being a professional football. I was a skinny person, less fat than I am now. And I really had that ambition of being a professional footballer. And I think like when you're a kid, that's most kids' goals and ambitions. I feel that like as the time would grow older, I wouldn't enjoy to be a football player, especially what I know today. Maybe it would be different. Maybe if history would be different, I would be a great football player and I would enjoy. But I just feel the way that I am now and all the circumstances, I feel that like I would resent if I was there. I start to understand more certain players that they were professional but they hated playing football, were just their living, and I feel that eventually that would become me. Like realizing what I know today from myself, I realized that that could be me, and understanding more those players that back then in my youth I never understood why they were unhappy playing football when every kid's dream was that. And most of my parents' traveling was to either go to churches, football or shopping. So occasionally we would go to Chaves, either to then go to Spain buying some stuff because it was cheaper, and Chaves is really near the border with Spain, so we'll just like travel to Spain, we buy something and then come to Chaves and buy other stuff that was cheaper than buying stuff in our hometown. So we'll travel for that. So my parents never thought about like, oh, let's walk around, just let's visit, let's just see. No, their idea was just like, let's drive to shopping malls, let's buy stuff, and that's our tourism. So I always wanted to just walk around, to just take photographs, to just visit more a little bit. So in the last October 2025, being in Portugal for a few weeks, I said to my dad, I know that's like we have the weekend off. Let's just go on the weekend off, like just visit Chaves, let's walk around, let's just take photographs, let's just enjoy a little bit. I know that we visit Chaves plenty of times, but not for photographs, not for walking around. My mom worked there for a long time, but and she knows more about Chaves than I do in that aspect. I never had that opportunity to just walk around. Was either to play football or enter in shopping centers, and that was about it. So we tried to schedule all together, the three of us, me, my dad, and my mom. But my mom was I don't know how you say that in English, but she's part of people that teach religious faith. So at that time that we tried to schedule that, she was on those gatherings teaching young kids about Catholicism, like the Christianity and all the stuff. So she was like, yeah, I'm busy doing this during the weekend, so you two just go have a bonding moment, just enjoy, just walk a little bit around, just have a great time walking around Chaves. We went on our journey, talking the whole way through, like just a little bit of music here and there, but mostly talking, just talking about life, just talking about different stuff. That's just, at certain point I was talking about different options that I was thinking at the moment, like from life choices to projects to all the stuff, just having someone to talk. And my dad is someone that is very close to me in terms, apart from being my dad, he's sort of a friend. So every time that I have the chance, I'm talking to him about different projects, different things. Sometimes he doesn't understand the entertainment industry, but it's okay, he's able to listen. So I'm just like rambling about different stuff. Sometimes it's just like questioning about my life choices of like, is that sustainable? Is that project like, how is that in terms of budget? What is the idea? So it's nice, even if someone doesn't understand the craft, to make questions that might make you wonder. Was like, yeah, maybe you're right, like in the perspective of like an outsider, maybe you're right, of maybe this would be too much, or this wouldn't make sense for now, maybe later, keep this idea for later, because now this would be a huge budget considering all of the stuff that you're mentioning. Yeah, okay, yeah, makes sense. Near Chaves, we stopped to eat something, to have lunch. We stopped on this restaurant, not the fanciest restaurant, but I would say that if you're looking for a Portuguese experience in terms of restaurants, don't go to a fancy restaurant, go to like a place that serves food to the workers, to the construction workers, to all the stuff, because you will have an authentic experience of what food is. And we stopped by one of, my dad knew this restaurant, he'd been there through like his work, when he had to drive for his work or something, he would stop there, so he knew this place. He have been there. So we stopped there, and the way that that restaurant worked is just like, they don't give you a menu. They say to you what is coming from the day, what is like, oh, this is the takes for the day. Like, this is the menus for the day. This is what we have. We have 3 different choices. You can choose from those, and we don't do anything else. That's what we do. That's the restaurant. We just cook 3 meals, 3 different meals. Every day is 3 different meals, and you can pick from that. So from the 3 meals, there was not things that I would say like I would pick from an entire restaurant, like an entire menu, but I was like, okay, it can be nice, let's try. So you get from there, and that's what I say by like, you get the full experience, because you're not robbed out of money for that, like the price is cheap, and you get what normal people eat. It's not made for tourists, it's made for the people. So we go for a walk, a lot of photos. I was enjoying Chaves. Truly, I was enjoying Chaves. I wish, at certain point, I wish that there are places that I wish I had like my GoPro and I had more time there. And Chaves one was one of those that I feel that if I had a proper camera or just a GoPro and I was there for the full day, I would take the most of that and I would make something unique out of it. But because that day was basically, let's walk around like 1-2 hours and let's just enjoy, let's just talk, let's just see what there is. And yeah, I just took as much photos as I could, and that was it. Like, the day was just to walk around, to talk to my dad, take photos, not talking to the camera, just like I'm talking to my dad and I'm taking photos here and there, stopping here and there to take photos. So yeah, was nice, was truly nice. It's those moments that sometimes it would be nice to have like a proper camera and record, but also that sacrifices, even having a proper camera sacrifices the bonds that you're making with people on your surroundings. Because if you are with a camera and trying to create content, a video content, you're sacrificing those genuine moments with people. So sometimes you have to pick between, do you want content or do you want to make your relationship with someone, either if it's a friendship, with even if it's the relationship you have with your parents, like make it stronger. What do you want? And this was one of those that is just like, part of me wish that I had my camera or had better camera or something to record, but other part was just happy that I could bond, but at the same time have a log of memories through photographs. Sometimes I feel that's more important than just creating content. It's just living life, and you can still have memories, can still then share in this type of format, but you're not focused. Because the gear, that's my mentality, is like the gear when you're recording content is different from the gear when, and the gear I'm talking about the mindset when you're not recording content. Because when you're not recording content, you can take photos, you can just enjoy, and you're trying to like have a nice conversation, like a normal conversation. If you're trying to create content, there is a difference between that shift, that mindset. That for me, when I notice and I make that introspective, how my mind works when I'm recording content. If I'm recording content, I'm not wishing to bond with someone, I'm wishing to make content, I'm wishing to see this and that, and thinking about like, this could be good for an intro, or this could be good for this. So I'm living the moment, yes, but I'm not enjoying the relationships or friendships or something. So sometimes it's nice, but sometimes do I make sense? I don't know. I might just be speaking to the void, and nothing of this makes sense, and probably I will cut this part. But I just feel that sometimes, and that's why I'm enjoying more and more to create content with just like the compact camera that I showed you before, because I just take the photographs, and even if I'm with friends or family or whatever, I don't need to stop what we are doing as a group to isolate myself of trying to document something and talking to the camera like, hey, I'm here. And then I can showcase the places this way, in which I'm here alone at home and I'm just talking in front of a camera and I'm free to talk whatever. I don't know. It's just different mindset. It's just different gear. It's just different shift of gear, but let's put it that way. So yeah, Chaves was nice, was a nice walk, was a nice bond moment with my dad. Sometimes I wonder that it's just like, because I'm far away from Portugal, not that far away, but there is other countries that are way far than Portugal, or to Portugal. But I feel that like, you just know your parents as people when you grow old, when you start to be an adult. Because before that, you look at your parents and they are the people that protect you, that give you money, that raise you, but you don't see them as an adult, as the failures that they made. You don't have these conversations, these depth conversations, or conversation in deep, let's put that way. And these moments, these bonds, is when you realize that they are humans too. Like, they are not just your parents, they are humans too. And that you're taking time now, when you can, when you go to Portugal, when It's just like you're taking time now to know them, because before you never bother with it. They were your parents, they were there, they were the only stability, the only common ground that you knew, no matter where you were, that they were there. But you never bother, or like the mindset wasn't there to just know them a little bit better. And as the time goes older, you start to understand them as people and not them as parents. And those moments, the moments that you take with your parents, that you try to talk, that you try to know them, that you try to understand behind that surface that they presented through the years. When you're a kid, you look at your parents and you think, oh, they are so perfect, like they do everything right, they know everything. And as older as you get, you realize that that's not true. They were just making sure that you were okay, but sometimes they didn't even know if that was the correct way of dealing with stuff. We are all, as an adult, we are just pretending that we know what you are doing and trying to make sure that the people that look up to you, that don't realize that we are pretending, and that we care and we try to do the best for them, whoever they are. Yeah, it's interesting to have those conversations, those chats, those walks in which you just realize that they are human, that they made mistakes, that the mistakes that they made were not in purpose. They try to give you the best they could. Then, of course, the best they could sometimes have consequences. But if they try their best, you can't blame them for trying their best. They had me on their 20s, and you realize that it's like, of course you're gonna make mistakes. I know the people on my 20s now. Like I'm near my 30s and less near my 20s, but I've been through my 20s. I know people on the 20s, and it's just like, of course you're gonna make mistakes. If you have a kid on your 20s, and even if you have a kid in your 30s, but let's just go into that 20s idea. Like, if you have a kid in your 20s, of course you're gonna make mistakes, because you barely know how to be an adult, and now you have the responsibility of forcibly, or like being forced to be an adult when you don't know what that means. So you're gonna make mistakes. That's reality. It's like, you're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna try to be the best parent you can, but you don't actually know what you're doing per times. You don't have a manual, a book saying like, do this, do that, this is the standards that you need to follow. You're just trial and error. You don't know everything. No one knows everything. And it's just fascinating to then have these talks, like I was saying, and realize that, and realizing that is like, oh, when you did this, when you did that, what was going through your mind? Do you remember this? What was going through your mind? And realizing that is like, oh yeah, you were just what you thought was the best. Maybe it wasn't the best decision, but we all fail as humans, so why blame them for everything? Like, if something went wrong, why blame them for everything instead of trying to understand and trying to comprehend and saying like, okay, yeah, why don't now we grow up as better, healthier relationships? Not that the relationships before were bad, but of course everyone goes through stuff. And I hope you enjoy this traveling blog, these stories, this stuff. And